entry of your vortexual, vibrational reality is unspeakable, really. It is not unfeelable, but it is unspeakable. So, you've been hearing us talking about this vortex. We've been spinning in the air, offering this experience of a vortex. And today we are wanting to say to you that that vortex exists and your point of attraction has a relationship with it. In other words, if your vortex is spinning, as we say that it is, in this very high-flying, non-resistant frequency of success and well-being, then you must be in the vibrational vicinity of it in order for what's in it vibrationally to begin to manifest into your actual experience. And we've been describing that point of attraction as your vibrational grid. It's like the framework that will fill in with the details. But you establish the framework, the vibrational framework, and then the details fill in that match the framework that you have accomplished. And that framework we're calling a grid. Maybe there are better words. It's the word we're using for now. Your point of attraction, your grid. So in order to explain all of this to people who are not that accustomed to even thinking in vibrational terms, we've fashioned this analogy of this vortex version of you. And we've been saying to you, we wrote a whole book about it. Get in the vortex. Get in the vortex and then apply your effort or your thought or your vocabulary to something. Today we're taking that vortex version into something that's easier for you to understand by reminding you that there is this high-flying vortex version of all that you want. But there's also a vortex version of what you don't want. Because every time you give thought to anything, you send a vibration that precedes the actuality of it into motion. So there are all kinds of probabilities that you've set into motion. Successful ones, unsuccessful ones, happy ones, unhappy ones. In other words, you've been creating a lot of realities that you're not yet living because you've been sifting through life and you've been setting a lot of things into motion. And the question that we really want to ask is, what is the vibrational proximity of the vortex version of you and the grid version of you? In other words, who are you in terms of vibration and who are you in terms of what you're allowing to manifest? That's really the question of the day, the week, the year, the century, the everything. That's the only thing that ever matters to you is what is your frequency in relationship to the one that you have carefully crafted over all that you have lived? And the answer to that question lies within the emotions that you feel. The better you feel, the closer those frequencies are. The worse you feel, the more disparity there is between who you really are and what you've come to and what you're allowing yourself to be right now, this red hot minute. What is your point of attraction right now? A while ago, we wrote a book. And in the book, we described the emotional scale, where you might be depressed, you might be feeling fearful, you might be really discouraged, or you might be feeling love, you might be feeling appreciation, or something in between. You might be feeling overwhelmment or frustration. If you're feeling depressed, then revenge is a step in the right direction. If you're feeling revenge, then anger is a step in the right direction. But on this emotional scale, there are frequencies of greater and greater resistance. The worse you feel, the more resistance in the frequency, and the lower the frequency because of the resistance. So when we say to you that you have a very high flying frequency in your vibrational vortex, then that must make you understand that if you can achieve a consistent high flying frequency in your day-to-day offering of thoughts and words and behaviors, that with a little bit of practice, you can get pretty good momentum going. And as that momentum becomes something that's so practiced that it's easy to keep going, then more and more you will be vibrating in sync with who you really are. So there will be little resistance or no resistance between who you really are and what you are wanting and where you're standing, so that you can receive the manifestations. You receive the inclinations. You receive the inspirations. You receive the impulses. You become a cooperative component in your own brilliant creation of life. And when you become a consistent cooperative component to the vortex that you've been creating, then the movement in your life experience is very exhilarating because, first of all, you feel good most of the time. And you have a leverage you have flowing through you this energy that creates worlds, and what you're accomplishing in terms of how it feels and in terms of how it is perceived by those around you is really magnificent. In other words, when you begin applying the leverage of this energy that creates worlds because you've tuned yourself into the frequency where it exists, then wonderful things begin happening for you. And it's not just the end result that we're excited about for you. It's a joyful journey along the way. So we want to call your attention now to this point of attraction, because this really is where all of your power is. You have the power right here and right now, and nobody else has that power for you. And you don't exercise it very well, but you're going to get better and better at it. You have the power right here and now to affect a vibration, to launch a vibration, to offer a vibration, to enact a vibration, to get a vibration going, to offer a vibration, to emit a vibration, to send a vibration, to send out a signal. You have the ability to do it right here, right now. So we're calling this your vibrational grid. It's like this is your vibration. You know how the frame of a house looks before the walls go up or even the roof goes on? It's a framework that will fill in with all of the textures and fabrics and details of your life. But it's a vibrational grid. That's where you stand. Right here. Right here. You stand here. Now we want to talk to you about what vibration or what emotion you are holding or maintaining or emitting while you're standing here in your powerful now. Are you elated? So the grid spins, and we want you to think of the grid as an emotional grid. So pure positive energy, elation, exhilaration, love, appreciation, high flying, good feeling. Ooh, high flying. Or there is depression, not so high flying. Or there is overwhelmment, not so low but not so high flying. In other words, all of the emotions that you know, they equal these sort of spinning grids, these points of attraction. And you've got different grids on different subjects. And you've sort of got a medium grid. You've sort of got the grid where you usually hang out. So we're going to drive you a little crazy because we're going to call it your grid. We're going to call it your high-flying disc. We're going to call it your spinning grid. We're using every word that we can find because we want you to begin to understand your point of attraction and what you're doing with it. And even more important, we want you to understand the vibrational grid that you're choosing and its relationship to this high-flying vortex that is you. In other words, you can't set your radio dial on 98 FM and hear what's being broadcast on 93 FM. The frequencies have to match up. So we want you to understand that your vortex, the vibrational version of you, all that you've become, it's that you that was you before you came into this body that's been expanding as a result of everything that you've been living in this body. This high-flying vortex that is you has a very high frequency that you got to find if what's in your vortex is going to flow into your reality so that you then can see it, hear it, smell it, taste, and touch it. In other words, you've got to get on the wavelength of it or you're not going to realize it. You're not going to have the actualization, the realization, the manifestation, the demonstration. All of those things, all of those words mean the same thing. You're not going to know it in that truest, physical, visceral, this is the way I'm living, this is who I be sense, unless you are a consistent vibrational match to it. Does that make sense to you? We want you to know that you create your reality by contouring your thoughts and that you don't do it all at once, but that you have a guidance system within you that will help you to do it. And you also have a very responsive universe all around you, giving evidence all day, every day of what your vibrational frequency is. Esther had one of the most enlightening and therefore satisfying days of her entire life at the Del Mar Fair, where grandchildren, Kate and Luke, demonstrated the principle of your vibrational point of attraction with such vividness that Esther will never wonder about it or law of attraction again. At the outset, almost the moment that they walked in the gate, Esther said, in her enthusiasm of the magnificent day that was going to unfold, because who doesn't want to be there with all of that? She said, there is a lot to choose from, so if you feel attracted to anything, just point at it. And right away, Luke said, I'm attracted to that. And it was a wheel. It wasn't a game. It was a sort of wheel. And so Luke spun the wheel and won free tacos. She wasn't very excited about. And then Kate spun the wheel and got something she really didn't want. A chance to win something at Knott's Berry Farm. And she looked slightly disappointed, and the nice man said, spin the wheel again, sweetheart. So she did. Got the same thing. The stupid tickets to win something that she didn't want. And she looked slightly disappointed. And the nice man said, spin it again, sweetheart. So she spun it again and got Slurpees from 7-Eleven. Something that she talks about incessantly. So there it began. Kate's world was responding to Kate in the most magnificent way, and Luke's world had turned to manure already. Because not only did he not get what he wanted, Kate did, which just made it so much worse. And then the day unfolded where everything Kate touched turned to gold. There was a basketball game where Luke's really good at basketball. He has a hoop in his backyard and he's really, really good at it. Just came back from Spurs camp. So Luke's throwing the ball and it's just bouncing back, bouncing back, bouncing back. Esther invested close to his college education in the game. 3 more balls, please. 3 more balls, three more, please. Kate threw her first ball and it went right in. And she won a great big Pegasus. Oh, it was so big and beautiful. And Esther looked at Kate and then she looked at Luke. And she could see the momentum had already begun. We won't tell you all of the details, but it was a remarkable day of Kate winning so much that they had to make a trip to the car to put it all in. And Luke saying, it's like they don't want me to win. They had gone because there was a train concert. When Esther discovered Train, she called them and said, you have to come, we'll go to the fair and we'll see Train. And everyone was excited because everyone in that family, this family, loves Train. So a nice man comes through the audience and picks Kate. Would you like to go on stage with Train? Can you imagine? And are you getting the full implication of all of this? Before the concert, Luke had explained that his favorite Train song was Mermaid, and he knew all the words. That was the song that Kate got to sing on the stage. And then the concert ended. The band left the stage. The audience was thrilled and clapping and clapping and clapping and clapping and clapping, and Train came back. Sang another song. It was so wonderful. And tossed out 3 last t-shirts into the audience. Kate got one of them. And as they left the grounds, Esther thought, I loved this day so much. Because I've been Kate and I've been Luke. And Luke's been Kate and Kate's been Luke. And everyone I know has been one or the other of them. And it was such a glorious opportunity to watch the speed with which the universe is responding to the chosen point of attraction. And it was also interesting to Esther because she wanted more than life itself to explain to Luke, you see, honey, see how Kate feels and see what's happening, and see how you feel and see what's happening. But it was not a teaching moment for Luke. It never is it? That's not the time to talk about what you're doing wrong. It's not the time to talk about what anybody else is doing right. It's not the time to talk. It's not the time to try to fix it. It's not the time to try to fix it for someone you love, and it's not the time to fix it for yourself. Because the more effort you apply, when that momentum is underway, you can't buck your own current. And that is